Hello everyone, and welcome to the Soil Food Web webinar, a Living Legacy series. This is where we're celebrating more than 4 decades of Dr. Elaine's research in soil microbiology. And today's webinar is about soil as a strategic resource. It's a national defense. It's really about soil, about food security. And our journey is not just about generation, it's about our own health and nutrition. So let's start connecting from everywhere in the world and let's start sharing. Where are you from? I'm in Spain. And Nick, where are you?
Hey, Iz, how are you? You well?
I'm fine. I'm really good.
Sorry,
Where,
I
where are
missed.
you connecting from?
I'm connecting from the UK. I was away last week, so I missed your amazing webinar last week. But I'm back in the saddle with you this on this webinar, and looking forward to it. And I'm in the UK, yeah, in Norfolk.
Beautiful Norfolk. I was really excited to be there this year. It was really nice place. Thank you
So this
so much
is
for having me.
part of the of our new webinar series. So this is a Soul Food Web, a living legacy. So this is for all the amazing work Dr. Elaine has done for us over her working life. So we're really celebrating this, and it started on the 30th of October, and we run until the 5th of December, where we finish with a really great webinar, which we'll talk about in a moment.
That's right. And I'm super excited to be here today because you are one of my favorite persons in the world. You know that. And another one is Miss Céline Basset. She's here with us, and she's our PhD candidate in management science and soil science, and a soil food web consultant. She's a great friend of mine, and she has done some wonderful work. And I am super excited to have her here with us. And I'm Isadora. I I I have my own company. I work in soil consultancy. I do a little bit of research, and I'm also a soil food web mentor. And I'm really excited to be here. And you, Nick, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, or should I introduce you too?
No, I'm very happy. So, Nick Padwick, have the pleasure of co-hosting with Iz today. Um, Fifth generation farmer, soil food web consultant, and instructor, and I've got my own business called Wild Soils, which is based in the UK, but supports and helps farmers, growers, and anyone who's in this space who needs support for their journey.
Lovely.
There's going to be a great series and a great webinar tonight. So is
Yes. So today this is webinar number 3, and we're talking about soil as a national defense with Céline. What else do we have? Last time,
so last time, the first one, we kicked off with webinar one, which is lessons hidden in the ecological monograph, and that was just incredible. And we had a real treat, as well as having Adam and Daniel, who really worked through a really interesting topic and subject. We had a guest appearance from Dr. Russell Ingham, which was just an absolute treat. So we thank we yeah, absolutely is. We thank the family for that. It was really good. So guys, if you want to go back and revisit that webinar, please do so. And
that's
I
right.
missed last week's. Is tell us about last week's.
Yes, I kind of missed it too, but I feel like this is the OG, it's the original group from the Soil Food Web. We had Todd, we had Joe, and we had Vivian, and they were just explaining case studies that review how, microbes can actually build resilience in landscapes. So it's quite wonderful. And I also suggest that people go back to YouTube and check it out.
And then, as is said today, we've got webinar 3 in our series, where we're going to be looking and speaking with Céline about this incredible topic. So I really am very excited about this one. I'm so pleased because I wasn't supposed to be here, it was supposed to be someone else. So I'm utterly delighted that I've managed to take over from Evan, so the boss. So we're really dead excited about this one. So we've got this in a moment, and then is
Um,
what do we got on our fourth webinar?
and then next week, same day, same time, we're gonna have Nick Tomasini. He is also a certified soil food web consultant. He's founder of Humankind Oregon, and he's gonna share some really cool insights and how biology drives yield, quality, resilience, in large landscapes as well, just like you, Nick. So I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, me too. Going to be away for that, but I will absolutely watch it on the rebound when I can. YouTube and all the other channels. I shall be dead keen to watch that one. And then to finish it off is we've got webinar 5, World Soil Day, and that's our community house party, which well is tell everyone what we normally do on this.
Well, that's a lot. That's a fun day. That's quite a fun day. We're all gonna get together in different breakout rooms. Excuse me, breakout rooms. I have to stop drinking that, thing. So early. So we all gonna get together in Zoom. We're gonna have different breakout rooms with different topics, and this is the power of community. We're gonna get to talk to each other and share experiences and share doubts and just have some fun too. We don't always have to talk about soil. We can talk about our favorite movies or whatever, but it's just about connecting. It's about getting us all in the same place, creating the space for everyone to share.
And there's normally, guys, there's normally a lot of mentors that come in and join this. So you really get to tune in with topics and mentors who will be in those breakout rooms, just chilling and asking and answering lots of questions. Because we learn, I mean, Iz and I always say, we learn more as much from you guys as you hopefully learn from us. And we are going to be learning so much from our next speaker. So I cannot wait. Just a couple more minutes and then Céline will be joining us. So, guys, as is said, please let us know where you're coming from. It is really cool to see how big this community is growing. And we really do enjoy and like seeing where everyone's tuning in from. It's great. So what we're going to do, Céline is going to be on for about 45 minutes. I've told her not to rush because this is going to be a great presentation. I can feel it. So we'll roll on as long as it takes for this. Then we've got a couple of minutes break where we talk about our latest offer for the Soul Food Web, and then we go into our Q&A. So guys, put some questions in the chat for questions afterwards, or we can start maybe answering some questions in the chat as well. But we've got 60 minutes of Q&A when you can ask Céline anything about a presentation or whatever, maybe some questions for Iz or myself, but mainly it's Céline. So you've got 60 minutes. We can chat through that. Okay, Céline, are you ready? Right, I will tell you.
I
Good,
am.
you've gone off mute. That was the main thing. I just saw your little mute button, so well done. So, without any further ado, Céline, we welcome you to this webinar, and we'll see you on the other side.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So my name is Céline Basset. I'm a PhD candidate in management science and soil science. And my research aim really to demonstrate kind of how soil health is the cornerstone of national security and how soil biodiversity, meaning trophic level, maintains soil function, and therefore how those soil organisms, the microorganisms that we see, and microfauna and mesofauna, contribute to reduce supply chain dependency for farming system. And we're going to see today how this is a strategic key for national security, meaning as well international security. So just to quickly talk about the motivation why I have done this PhD. Why did I do 2 disciplines, not only one? It's because I observe recently an increasing polarization surrounding all the environmental issues. So that's the main reason I think we should not polarize ecology, actually. And then, meaning ecology is not inherently a matter of left or right political ideology. So this is very important to put science outside of the academic structure, I would say. And as well, just as a reminder, food is the basic need for people to maintain technically an harmony into a society. And I think right now we definitively need to have harmony towards society, but we're going to see it all depends on the health of the soil. So that was just all the motivation why I've done this work with 2 disciplines. A special thank you as well with all the collaboration with this PhD. So the Dr. Quentin Lambert from the INRAE at the University of Caen, Normandy, as well the Dr. Julio Pachon Maldonado, Professor Mark Bratney, Professor Damien Field from the Sydney University. That helped this work as well to happen. And a quick hello as well to the Dr. Kim Zaldo from the CTFC from Catalonia. So a big up to this university team. Without their help, I would not kind of be able to achieve all this work. So I will try to, do you guys, is it on the share screen? Finally, Isadora, do you think? Yeah, let's go. We're going to go this way. So we're going to see at the first, what's the strategic value of soil and why it should be treated as a critical infrastructure. So, because it's very uncommon to mix the soil and the security as, it's very useful, but most of the time we're going to link soil with food security, but we never link soil with national security and national defense. And we're going to see why it is the cornerstone of the civilization. So let's move on with the slide, please, Isa. Yeah, we're going to go. Thank you. So what we have to understand today is our agri-food system rely on global supply chain, meaning every morning, just try to remember what you eat for breakfast. Where does that come from? Is it come from the nearest city or is it come from the other corner of the planet? So that is very important to understand that those global supply chain, they are complex and they involve many steps before product reach out your local store or reach out your home, because now you have delivery at home. So that structure, that organization actually increase the physical and psychological distance between the consumer and the grower. Now people, and especially people in the city as well, but as well in the rural area, because we all go to the store, in rural area, but we don't know where food comes from, and we don't remember how it grows and what type of media we need to have to get proper food. So rural reality, agriculture, and soil health are increasingly actually perceived as abstract concepts. And they are very in the non-scientists or people who don't have any interest because there are other things to think about. There is still a poorly understood by the wider population of how soil is the cornerstone of food security and or security in a term of national and defense strategy. So, multiple steps that you can see on the right. The supply chain, you need to get the raw material, okay, let's say the banana from the farm. Then after you need to have a supplier network, okay. Then after you need to have, I don't know if you can see my cursor. No? Okay, oh, I cannot show. Okay, so just try to follow this little supply chain work over there. Yeah. Yes. So raw material, let's say the banana. Then we're going to carry the banana from the farm to a platform which require a supplier network. Then we're going to have another transportation, okay, to go to let's say the final destination. It requires com and IT network. We need to have trade and policy and regulation. We have the workforce doing all the job, and then we have the financial system that play a crucial role as well in every step of this very complex and vulnerable supply chain. And then finally, we have the political stability and security at the end of the supply chain. So what does it mean? Just remember, back in July 2024, with CrowdStrike, there were an update and the update failed. So the CrowdStrike software crashed basically, and for just a couple of hours, the world stopped to deliver food. The water, the food, but as well the animals that are displaced from a country to another while in a boat, they were stuck. So we did not have like this supply chain disruption kind of like create big loss, financial loss, like billions of loss in many different sectors, food sector, pharmaceutical sector. So technically, when your global agri-food system rely heavily on supply chain, because we need the seeds to come in the farm, we need the pesticide, we need the fertilizer, and we need all the supply. We need as well the piece for the tractor. So when you think about the agri-food system, everything rely on the supply chain today. Okay, we can go to the next slide, please. So technically, any threat to the supply chain can be cyber attack, labor strike, natural disaster, inflation, pandemics, regulatory change, shortage in raw material. All those factors, they will contribute to create food insecurity. And by compromising the food insecurity, you are kind of compromising as well the national security. Why? Because simply just remember, I mean, I remember back in France, back in the COVID-19, during the outbreak of the COVID-19, well, basically, the people, they were fighting for toilet paper. So just imagine what will happen if people are just lacking of drinkable and safe water and they don't have food to bring to the plate to their kids. So that is a question of national security, internal homeland security, meaning how are you going to maintain peace with that? Can we just go to the next one? Thank you. So the food insecurity, just to remind that the FAO, you know, there are 4 pillars for the food security. Availability, what is availability? It's the way we have a consistent presence and sufficient quantity of food produced, stored, delivered, imported to meet population needs. That's the availability dimension of the food security. Then we have the access pillar, which is the ability of individual and household to obtain food through physical proximity, but as well economic means or social support. Meaning as well, if you don't have enough money, you cannot get food. So the food is supposed to be accessible. The utilization, which is the 3rd pillar of food security, is actually the effective biological use of food influenced by nutritional quality, dietary diversity, and health condition. And then the safety of the food is the assurance that food is free from contaminant and produced, processed, and stored under conditions that prevent any harm. So that said, a short or long-term disruption in supply chain today would therefore undermine the pillar of food security. And actually in a lot of industrialized country, it can be global north country or global south country. In many ways, those 4 pillars for the food security are already undermined. Okay, I remember when I was living in New York, I could not have access to food when a green pepper was costing like $5.99. That's a lot to make a chachuca. I mean, the chachuca is supposed to be like a very humble, dish that you can cook. But in a time of price, that's a lot of high price. So that's very important to ask the question, if we have food shortage, if we have fertilizers shortage, if we have seed shortage, pesticide shortage, whatever shortage, organic matter shortage, no delivery, are we able to produce food? Are we able to produce food locally? How can we simplify the supply chain today? And if you think, and I see like there are a lot of people from the United States, from Canada, but as well from Europe and global South country. I saw some people from Bangladesh. So the organization of the farming system are completely different. And in most industrialized country right now, we are at a very high risk of food insecurity. While a lot of literature show, oh, food insecurity is just a matter of developing country. No, actually, this is a matter, it's an interconnected global issue where global South country, North and South, are completely mixed and affected in a different way within the food security pillar. So that being said, I would like to just go to the next slide and talk why am I talking about security. Just to give you some foundation about the security is not only about coercion, flashball guns, or weapons or war. Security, it's a sense of security. It comes from stable response and predictable caregiving. Actually, it comes from the developmental psychology, like in the foundation of the attachment theory. Infants, they have the tendency to feel secure when their needs are met. But actually, we are the same. Into a society, adult, if we feel secure, it's because our needs are met on a reliable way. We know that tomorrow morning we're going to go to the, 7-Eleven for people in the United States, or any grocery store in Paris or in any other city or small city, and then we're going to find our milk. But what if we have supply chain disruption? So security is about a sense of feeling secure. And then when we feel secure, we are feeling in harmony. Okay, that means we can live in an harmony in society where everybody's needs is met. And the basic need is food. It's a full plate of food and a safe drinking water. That's the minimum. Then I would like just to highlight the French Revolution. Just remember, the French Revolution starts with a lack of food and bread to eat, kind of. And what happened, we had like people within the country that start to make a big revolution. Do we want another revolution? That's not really a question I'm going to ask today, but that's from the security and homeland perspective, it can be actually a big risk, because if we are lacking of food today, that's a matter of like food and water. That's the minimum we should take care about, because again, this story of pandemics, when people, they were fighting for toilet paper in France. I saw that from my eyes. What is going to happen when we're going to have empty shelves and food shortage? And some people, they're going to share. Some people, they will be able to get organized. But actually today, one of my work is to really emphasize this issue. So governments normally play a central role in creating the condition of security that allows society to function in harmony. Okay, so that said, let's move to the other slide. So when we think about the security, the pillar of security today, there are territorial security, economic security, energy security, health, environmental security, cyber security, but as well we have social and political stability, and we have the food and water security. Those are all the pillar of the national normally security from any country. That's an average, okay? What about farmer getting suicide? And I really wanted to talk about this topic because this is a worldwide effect. This is a worldwide phenomenon, and that cannot continue. This is very concerning because we have burnout and suicide within the farmer society. And then how, since the food security is one of the very important pillars for national security, farmers that are in danger, even though their work is of a vital importance within the national security for the food security, how can we allow the agricultural sector to remain at risk today? How is it possible to still have as well zero, what can I say, political and systemic answer when we have farmers from United States, from Australia, from Europe, from India, from Africa, from everywhere in the world that commit suicide? And one of the major reasons is crop failure. In-depthness. In-depthness is the massive, I would say, dominant cause of suicide among farmers, typically triggered by crop failure and price volatility. So that is something very important, and that, for me, that's undermine the national security. When farmers disappear, what are we going to eat when we have as well supply chain dependency? Remember, at many stages of the complex supply chain, at any time you can have disruption. So we have less and less farmers on the land. Like, I'm going to talk for France. In France, the population of farmers decrease and decrease and decrease every day, meaning we need to increase our importation. And again, my speech is not about being autarcic, okay, or being globalized. There is no politics in it. It's just like thinking common sense. How do you want to feed your people when you reduce the amount of farmer? And how you going and when you depend on supply chain? What about circular economy? By keeping global activity. This is not antagonist. So the burnout and the suicide of farmers, it's another vulnerability of a society that undermines national security. I think we can go toward the next slide as well. Then we're going to see that among the farmers who are still there, they are dealing with soil. This is their capital. Without a good capital, how can they produce? How can they be successful? How can they be not dependent on supply chain when we have a state of soil degradation that is alarming? And I will just talk for Europe because I know the digit. According to the European Union, we have more than 60 to 70% of soil in Europe that are degraded. So when your farmer work with soil, that's a big issue. That will be a cost. A degraded soil mean a high cost. You will need to buy for fertilization strategy. You will need to buy for pesticide strategy, disease suppression strategy. And what type of degradation do we have? We have the erosion, we have the acidification, we have the salinization that are linked together. We have the carbon loss, we have the contamination, like with bioaccumulation of molecule that should not be into the ecosystem circulating in a free way. We have the structural decline. And then we have the surface ceiling, always more road, always more house, always more mail and everything. And we have a habitat loss. All those degradation, they lead to food insecurity, and they lead to undermining the 4 pillars of food security. And that leads to national insecurity. And especially when we have very high, intense, conflicted geopolitical land right now, and especially when we have high cost, inflation, and inequality. So how come that we still allow our soil to continue to be degraded when they represent a strategic pillar for food security and national security. It is just because sector, they don't talk. We don't bridge sector. Everyone stay in its sector. No one wants to be interdisciplinary. And so the knowledge cannot flow. So we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So talking about soil degradation, if I am a decision maker, how can I understand that compaction layer will create anaerobic habitat? And then when we have very destroy habitats, soil habitat that is destroyed, how can a rotifer, how can a collembola, how can a nematode can thrive and survive in this condition? How can a decision maker can understand that? How can a land manager, people who work, in the sector of building house and everything, how can the real estate, how can they understand that we need to get the water infiltrated despite the construction of a city? So my point is like a poor understanding of the national security implication of soil degradation is often the root of inadequate regulation to protect soil. Definitely. Understanding soil, it's one of the key to understand how we can implement solution, how we can thrive climate change, how we can have water infiltration, and how we can have drinkable water again without paying a big price. So where does that come from? If everything is communicating and being all around through supply chain, it leads, unfortunately, to unsustainable soil management. Those unsustainable soil management create the big problem. It creates actually the disappearance of beneficial soil biodiversity, the one that we learn here in the Soil Food Web School. And then this disappearance of the soil biodiversity is just going to lead to the loss of soil function and services that soil provide freely to society to produce food. And that is going to create a big issue as production, the cost production will raise, soil function will decrease. And we're not going to get out of the loop. And farmers get trapped in the loop. If some farmer cannot stop pesticide, it's because the soil function in the soil are not yet back. So that is very important to understand. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So talking about farming management and switching toward agroecologic, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. When I in touch with the farmer, because I work with a lot of farmers, what I notice, whatever they are, conventional or organic or regenerative ag, what is important is to understand where they come from. What's the issue? Why can they not switch from one practice to another one? Most of the time is the lack of knowledge, the lack of time, the lack of financial possibility to support financially the transition as well, because it takes time, and we're going to see that. So farmer, as the soil is depleted, farmers are exposed to an increasing number of biotic and abiotic stress. Biotic stress is technically disease, parasite, pest that will just decrease the crop, the production. So it's going to decrease the benefits from the farmer, but it's going to decrease as well the food security, and it's going to decrease import or export. So it's a very cascading effect. Abiotic stress is really linked to the climate change. When we have heavy rain, when we have flooding, when we have drought, how the soil is able today to buffer those abiotic and biotic stress. And we're going to see that the soil, this is its job. Normally, the soil is supposed to do that. So it's a real challenge to go towards sustainable management for farmers today. They can be from India, they can be from Vietnam, from France, from United States, from Costa Rica, from Brazil, from Ghana, from Niger, from Madagascar, what we're going to need to do is to understand what's the role of the soil, how can we get back the soil back into condition in good shape, and how we're going to regain the soil function. Because what's the bad behind is the food insecurity and national insecurity in a worldwide way. Okay, we can go furthermore in the next one. Another point. So we're going to see the ecological succession in another way. Most of the time we talk about like this succession. So most of you guys in the webinar, they know that plant succession is linked with biological succession. But what strikes me is the time. What's the time for the generation? In pedology, it's century and century and thousands of years. In the ecological succession, it's more century. So what we observe, there is a desynchronization between soil regeneration time, food production, food security needs, and profitability of the grower. How all of these components can be harmonized and go toward actually a nice way and be still profitable, because we still need to be profitable. So how long does it take to restore soil function and soil services? What I notice again with farmer in France, when I do the training, we have kind of like subsidy that can pay. And actually decision maker and politics can easily decide actually today to switch toward ecology. You know, in Europe, it's called the subsidy, la PAC. If one day la PAC became agroecologic, regeneration will occur very quickly. Farmer will be less at risk because they're going to have like compensation, subsidy to transit toward a new way of doing farming. And then this is really a question again of national security. Okay, we can access to other slide. So what I wanted to emphasize in my work here, it's most of the time we talk about soil health, which is what's the soil condition today. Okay, so what we have to understand is there is no soil, there is soils. There are soils. We have plethora of soils. We have, I think, as much soils as we have humans on this planet. So if we see soil, in a way, this is like many different personality that has multiple dimension. We start to understand what's the key role of soil into a society. So the Professor McGratney from the Soil Security Framework, which is a professor in Sydney University, back in 2014, they talk about soil security, and they kind of like think wider. They put the soil at the center of the society because soil has many dimensions. When you look at the schema on the left, we have the capability and condition dimension. That are the two first dimensions. Those dimensions, they relate to farmer. They relate to the people who work directly with the soil. What's the pH of my soil? What's the nutrient of my soil? What's the biology of my soil? I have to be productive. I have to get benefits from my soil because this is my capital to produce food. Then we have the dimension capital. This is the third dimension, which is more like, what's the value of my soil? What's the value of my soil if the soil has its ecosystemic services in good shape? What will be the price of the soil when we know that soil infiltrates properly the water, that the soil can give the nutrient in a plant available form? That's the third dimension. Then we have the fourth dimension, connectivity. Connectivity is very important, actually. Connectivity is how people who are non-specialists, how people relate to soil. What do they understand from soil? And then if people understand the soil, Then we have the fifth dimension, codification, meaning how can decision maker protect soil and make regulation? So that's the big framework of my work, actually, that if you secure your soil, you're going to secure the food, you're going to secure the national security as well again. Can we go to the next one? And then we're going to go to the end pretty soon. It's as well, my thesis is ensure within the framework of the soil monitoring law, which aim 3 steps: monitoring soil, improving soil health by 2050, promoting sustainable management through NBS. What is NBS? It's nature-based solution. Nature-based solution, this is what we learn actually here in the Soil Food Web School. It's according to the International Union of Conservation of Nature. It's all those actions that protect sustainable use, manage and restore natural or modify ecosystem. Okay, we can go to the next one. So being into the interdisciplinarity is creating bridges. What's the level of connectivity among people towards soils? How we can get them straightened? And then how can vermitechnology, for instance, can be considered as a nature-based solution for restoring soil in order to reduce supply chain dependency for farming system. So my goal, the work of my research, the goal is like to provide management tools to quantify, monitor, follow up the change in practice, and to propose for the soil monitoring law a model to be able to use the vermitechnology, for instance, in order to replace fertilization strategy and disease suppression strategy. Okay, we can go to the next. If you want to do more, you will be able to see this publication that is open access. We can go to the next one. Now we're going to see the nature-based solution and what's the key role of soil biodiversity and what's the key role of vermitechnology. Thank you, Isa. So what defines an effective nature-based solution, and what extent can vermitechnology qualify as a nature-based solution capable of addressing multiple social and environmental vulnerability? Can vermitechnology enhance soil functioning? Can they enhance the plant-soil nexus in ways that reduce farmer dependence on external supply chain inputs? That's the main question of the research for the soil science part of the research. We can go further on. So today we're going to focus as well on the vermitechnology. Vermicompost and aerated vermicomposting, they are very old stuff, actually. I have been spanning over 30 years of publication. Most of the publication come from the global South country, India, big up to India, big up to Africa. Honestly, I'm amazed to find so many. I have 42 pages of reference. That will be online after the PhD, meaning May 2026. So there is a lot of reference talking about those vermicomposts being capable of enhancing soil because they have fertilization strategy capacity, but they have as well biocontrol capacity. So can vermicompost accelerate the restoration of soil function and services? That was one of my main questions within this research, because I saw everywhere that it enhanced the capacity of the soil to become a good buffer to absorb abiotic stress and disease. We can go to the next one. So here are all the 3 questions that was the main hypothesis in this research, which is vermicomposting strategy restore soil biodiversity. Then we got vermicomposting strategy restore soil function. And then we have sustainable disease suppression strategy can occur when we are enhancing the leaf microbiome. Sorry for the phyllosphere, this is all the surface, all the part of the plant that is above the soil. And this is what we do when we do foliar spray. This is enhancing the leaf microbiome. We can go to the next one. So this is the vineyard where I have been doing the experiment since 2022. This is in the southeast of the France. This is a vineyard for table grape, not for drinking wine, even if I love to drink wine. Table grape only. What is difficult for table grape? It's the grape needs to be beautiful. It needs to be good. It needs to taste good. It needs to be perfect. It needs to be round. Very difficult. A lot of loss. Less rentability for people and profitability for the farmer. Okay, let's go. I will go quickly. Can we? Yeah. That was the main issue of the vineyard. This vineyard has 15 years. We had a lot of disease. We have zero resistance to the drought. We have about 25 centimeter loss of soil. We have deficiency. We have root competition. We have stagnation of the grape wine. So all those stress lead the farmer to be just not profitable. Yeah, we're gonna go to the next one. So just a quick, just some quick picture. When you think about this vineyard, you can see there is a lot of issue. Pathology, disease were hairy noses, porody, mildew. We had phylloxera as well, odium. We have multiple deficiency, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, erosion. Okay, very common thing. Just to go quickly over the methodology because we're going to run out of time. The experimental design was this one. We basically row number 6 was the control plot, and then the other row were divided by 2 because the farmer just let me just the top of the vineyard. So we did for vermicompost plot and agroecological plot soil decompaction. Within under the row, we put organic matter and then we remove the plastic tarpaulin. Even if the plastic tarpaulin was already scratchy, there were some holes all over, we just decided to remove it completely. And we did nothing in the control plot. Okay, we can go further. Then what happened is like in the vermicompost plots, on the top of having decompaction and organic matter, we apply 4 times soil application per year and 4 foliar spray per year. That's it. And we decided to keep it by 4 because this is an academic research and we could not do like a farming experiment. So I could not say, oh, this year I'm going to do 5 foliar spray. No, that would be a lack of method. Okay. This is what we measure. We measure the soil function indicator, soil penetrability, water retention time, carbon. We measure the grape one answer with the disease rate, LDMC. We measure as well the soil community with microscopy, DNA, metabarcoding, and microbial biomass. So this is just a couple of indicators from the research. Okay. So just to show, back in 2023, we got like in the experimental plot. Alors, just for you to know, experimental plot and vermicompost plot is the same. So in the vermicompost plot, we got only 20 to 25% of grape wine that were infected by hairy noses, downy mildew, and odium. And the control and agroecology plot were infected by 80%. Meaning the leaf microbiome were actually working. When we put the vermicompost, the foliar spray vermicompost, it was doing his job. In 2024, 2023, and 2022, the next slide. Yes, thank you. We're going to go to the next one. The grape one answer was consistent. So because we are still under preliminary and unpublished data, the results are still subject to peer review. And then that's why I do not disclose the digit here and the p-value here. But we got highly significant effect of the vermicompost treatment. So this is very encouraging. Oh, can you just go back? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Go back. Yeah. When we focus on the oomycetes, we notice that the vermicompost here, the vermicompost plot, had very few oomycetes compared to the control and compared to the agroecology. Surprisingly, agroecology was the plot that has the most mildew and the most oomycetes and pathogen fungi. Okay, we can go to the other one, and that was significant. Talking about this leaf LDMC. So maybe the LDMC is a key functional trait in plant ecology, and that measures technically the ratio of leaf dry mass to fresh mass. Okay, so that in 2023 that was not significant, but we noticed a tendency where we saw that vermicompost leaf, they were more robust, they were more vigorous, and basically it means the plant was able to take the nutrient from the soil. That means the vermicomposting strategy seems to improve the nexus plant biology so that the leaf was able to do their job, and then the fructification starts to as well to be visible, but that was still a tendency, not yet significant. So that's just a picture just to show you in 2024. On the left picture, we have vermicompost versus agroecology. You can see the leaf from all the variety of grape wine. So you can definitively see the difference, how the leaf uptake nutrients. They don't have any disease. They are very dark green. And then you have on the right picture, the vermicompost leaf with the control plot. And you can definitively as well the difference between control and agroecology plots. Okay, let's move on. So for the water retention time, so here, the longer the time will be, that means the less the soil will infiltrate. And what happened in only a year of treatment it was significant. The vermicompost plot was technically significantly shorter. The time was significantly shorter compared to the agroecological and the control plot. So that means a lot. Okay, next slide. Just the one before. Sorry. So through the year, the water retention time as well of the vermicompost plot, it was still significant in 2023, in 2024, and in 2025 as well. We just finished the statistics. So that's a very encouraging data actually toward the adoption of vermicomposting strategy. Okay, next one. I cannot push, no. Soil function, the soil penetrability. We unpacked the soil only one time back in 2022. So the control get back compacted. The agroecology was still decompacted because of the adding of organic matter, but the vermicompost plot was definitively and significantly more penetrable compared to the other plots. So that's another way to maintain soil decompaction by putting back biology. And results were significant. Okay. It was the same through the year. So if you ask the question why in 2024 all the plots increase in penetrability, it's because in 2024 we had heavy rain, but despite the heavy rain, control agroecology versus vermicompost, we still see a significant effect of the vermicompost strategy. So that is very consistent despite the change in climate, drought, and heavy rain. We still have this result. Okay. Next slide, por favor.
Are you able to go forward? My cursor has stopped working. Apologies. Going so well. It doesn't seem to be moving forward.
No, none of
Céline,
them
I'm
are.
so sorry. Hold on, let me just try it this way.
No problem. We're gonna find a way. I know. And that's a lot of information, I guess, as well for the people who are watching the webinar. So it's nice to make like a small pause.
Gosh,
This,
has it
yeah,
stopped your end as well?
yeah, I think it kind of froze. It's well, while we're trying to figure that out, I was there. I saw those vineyards, and it was quite wonderful. It is quite amazing to see what really well done vermicompost can do to the system. Because you have to say that your vermicompost was absolutely amazing, Céline.
I don't know if it was amazing, but we did it in a way that it needed to be with indigenous biology. So we did a lot of input from the vineyard, from the forest nearby the vineyard, because the vineyard is surrounded by forest. So it's cool because it's supposed to be ecological succession. However, the thing is like as well, when you have a poor soil biodiversity, it will bring a lot of disease, a lot of mildew. So it's good and bad to be near a forest for a vineyard, talking from the farmer's perspective. And then that was really challenging because this soil was in conventional agriculture for cereals for about 30 years. So it had a lot of tillage and a lot of pesticide. And thank you to the farmer who was in conventional, who helped us within the to gather the information for the research, because he was very conciliant and adorable guy who was very curious about the soil biodiversity. So this vermicompost strategy was in the need to be standardized. And that was something as well that in my research I had to do, meaning standardizing the process, how you're going to increase as well the input, how you're going to deploy many type of bacterial food versus fungal food, how you develop in a way that you're going to complexify the food. It's like I always say to my student, like, you're not going to feed your baby with a pizza or a full chicken right away. You're going to need to grow the stomach and the palate to learn how to eat. And so it's the same for worms, actually, and vermicompost.
In fact, the way I see it, those microbes, they need food security too, and we strip that away by disturbing their own supply chain, right? And then this is what we kind of have to build the entire system, and making sure they have the right amount, the right proper food to establish community.
Yeah. Because they're going to be the breeder of the soil biodiversity. So most of the time, vermicompost, it's back. We are back.
Yeah, let me just tell Nick, I think we're not in presenting mode though, Nick, if it's possible to do the present on top.
Sorry, guys.
You're doing great, Nick.
Apologies.
Yeah, no worry.
We're getting there now. We're getting there now.
It's awesome.
So, yeah, what is important to know, it's vermicompost today are treated like garbage, and this is really wrong. Today, vermicompost means, I'm just going to manage my garbage, and this is everything except that.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it's everything excepted putting your garbage. So but the whole goal of this study was to standardize the method, actually, based on Soil Food Web. Okay.
Okay, so
let's
Céline,
move on.
are we back with you
Yeah.
now? Can you see that, Isadora?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
well, guys, for those of you who dropped out or we dropped out, apologies. We are with the amazing Céline, and she's going through webinar 3. Soil is a national defense, rethinking soil as a strategic resource, and we're through her presentation, and we've got a few minutes to go, so we will carry on. Thank you.
I think she was in a few slides.
Yeah.
I can change the slides anymore. My remote.
Yeah.
Back?
Front.
No. Front, yeah. We were at the result. I was very close to the end just to show the DNA. I think the soil community result. And
45, slide 45. Yeah.
Slide 45, Ron, are we?
Heading to the end.
Okay.
We don't see a change, Nick, for some reason. We still in the grapevine answer, beautiful leaves. There you go.
Yes. Okay. More front. Let's go to the very most yes, carbon. This one is very interesting. It's in 2024. So talking about soil function, agroecology was still a good carbon thing, Control still was okay, but look in 2024, where was the vermicompost? It was already getting out of the standards in a term of carbon sink. So that's very important as well for climate change. Okay, the next slide, please. Soil community, very interesting. In 2022, all the plots had the same type of soil community, meaning the same type of bacteria, fungi, eukaryotes, protozoa, nematode, and everything. In 2023, agroecology and control were very similar in the term of soil community. And we start to see the vermicompost plots that start to be different, significant as well. In 2024, we had 3 types of community. Control, stay control. Agroecology start to become different from control because of the effect of soil decompaction and organic matter. And we have as well the vermicompost effect of the treatment. So 3 types of community with 3 different types of, on the same plot. I mean, the same surfaces. Okay, the next one. Soil FB ratio. We just compare agroecology and vermicompost. It just talks by itself. For the vermicompost plot, we have the highest FB ratio compared to the years, meaning the treatment is working and it's making an effect. Okay, let's towards the other one. Fungal biomass. Same when you look at the control, the agroecology, and the experimental, meaning the vermicompost, the fungal biomass is higher in 2024 through the years compared to the other type of plots. Meaning the vermicomposting strategy works in a significant way. Okay, the next one, please. Talking about DNA, and I really hope we're going to have a part number 2 next year, because I'm not able to disclose all the digits, but just to show you guys that the DNA confirm the other results. And we have 3 types of soil ecosystem and soil community. 3 different ones, meaning the analysis of the DNA revealed the high significant effect of the vermicompost treatment on microbial community across all the group, bacterial community, fungal, eukaryotes. And I made a focus within the protozoa family level and nematode community and arthropod. Okay, the next one. And then just to give you a little test of the DNA, talking about nematode, just look at the distribution of nematode by trophy group, who eat what. So in the control plot, I cannot see my... Just like if you take a look at the vermicompost plot, look at the reduction of the root feeding nematode. This is phytophage. Sorry for the French. It's sometimes put everything in French. So we have a different community according to the plots. But look how the root feeding are 31% in the... I cannot see the left one because of the zoom. I think it's the control. Then in agroecology, we have 16.2%, and we have only 8.1% in the vermicompost. So they are a big biocontrol effect of the vermicompost strategy. And then on the top of everything, the vermicompost plot was the one who had 75% percent of nematode community. So that's quite when you have many indicator and DNA showing that, this is very important. Okay, next one. I just wanted to trigger your attention that I just knew, like back in July 2025, that the Tigray government scaled vermicomposting strategy and technology to boost agricultural productivity in time to conflict. So I was doing this job of research since 2022, but in 2025, we have this Ethiopian Tigray government that already adopt vermitechnology as a strategy. So I just wanted to highlight this. Okay, I think it's part 3, and this is the last one. And I really want to talk about what was the role of Dr. Elaine in my work as well. First, I call her a pioneer in recognizing that soil must break free from academic silo. And I relate the Soil Food Web School and Dr. Ingam to the connectivity dimension. We can go to the next slide. So she has brought actually 4 key scientist contributions. She developed and popularized the soil food web model because indeed in the 80 and 90, we had a peak of publication. And then after, for some reason, we did not get any publication on the soil trophic level model. However, since 2020 and 2022, soil biodiversity and trophic level, they are back on the scientific article and publication scene. So she really explained how the soil organisms work and interact in, or actually the precursor of agronomic quality of a soil. Then she advanced the practical use of compost and composting in her manual back in 2003. And she explained how the biology is the key to reduce actually the chemical dependency. So there is nothing new in my PhD actually. She advocates as well for a biological approach to soil restoration. In France, we have Claude and Lydia Bourguignon who tried back in the 90s to advocate as well for soil, but they were not really well listened, but they have been as well a French pioneer in my countries, but she was a worldwide pioneer technically. And so I'm pretty sure, like, as well, she was already like in a very young age in a very good way to kind of revolutionate and devote her life to defend soil health. So for that, a big thank you to her. And she as well influenced the global regenerative movement by integrating soil microbiology with as well practical land management. Because most of the time in science, we are very far from the farm, we are very far from the field. We are here to take measurements, but to work in an ergonomic way with the farmer, that was very innovative. That's very, very important because it needs to be transferable knowledge towards operationalization within the farm. And so she was really, that was a big contribution that I find out. As well, I just wanted to highlight her citation number, 7,097 citation. And since 2020, since like during the COVID, 1,169 citation from her scientific work. So that's quite impressive as well. And then this is the almost next slide. I wanted to develop how her legacy through the school for me was already a precursor of advancing the connectivity of soil knowledge. Because if soil knowledge, soil ecology, soil microbiology just stay within the academic and the lab, how are we going to make people understand how soil works? How are we going to make people assess their soil through practical approach? How are we going to reduce their dependence on chemical input if we don't open up? And so that's why this school is not because I have been a student of this school that I'm like, you know, being super nice. It's really, I think, a very good pillar of soil connectivity that the Professor McGratney develop. It's how people they're going to relate to soil. And so linking the Soil Food Web School with the connected dimension of the soil security is actually right, because you guys, you reestablish the biological connectivity among people. And it's a matter, honestly, of security, because the more people will understand the soil, we're going to have gardener, non-specialist, farmer, land manager, real estate people, why not? Everybody that can understand soil, like they understand the grammar to speak, it will necessarily enhance the buffer of the soil, and it will buffer all the issues that we're going through right now. Final. Yeah, that's it. That's
Okay.
not the one.
That's it.
That's for the
We're done.
question. This is time for the question. So
Brilliant.
thank you so yeah, thank you so much for your attention. And honestly, I hope my French accent was not so difficult for the people to understand. So I'm fully free for any question, and I will do my best. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Céline,
Wow.
that was great. We really appreciate that. What gosh, that time has whizzed past. Thank you so much.
A lot of
Really,
things
really
to think
appreciate
about,
it.
and Nick.
Yeah, so much to think about. And I do apologize for the glitch halfway through. I'm so pleased it didn't throw you off. So thank you for being so patient. Yeah, great. That was great, wasn't it, Iz?
It was wonderful. Lots of food for thought. I love to have this bigger picture, because we're all talking about microbes, is very little, but we also need to understand everything else around it, that supply chain, the farmer, and yeah, and then risk, right? Because change comes with risk, and no one who's taking all this risk is the farmers. You know, Nick, this more than anyone. And we need institutions like ours, we need governments, we need people to help farmers mitigate this risk, and we need to take data, right? I know I'm very lazy to take data, but it's important to do things and take proper data, comparing bananas with bananas, not monkeys with fish. We need to be able to comparable data, gather data that we can make conclusions and make better decisions for us in the future. But yes, I loved it. Thank you, Céline.
You're welcome.
That's great. Thanks. So we'll move to the questions in a minute, but we've got our Soul Food Web Foundation now, and obviously our mission is to restore and protect the Earth's living ecosystems. And as a farmer and a grower myself, it's so inspiring every time we do these. We're very privileged that we see so many amazing people around the world who are coming together and wanting to be educated and have been educated by the school. It certainly is fantastic, and we really appreciate it. And to that point, we are again reducing the foundation course until the 20th of November to 1999. Now there's a thing here, isn't there? Have we sold so many that the cohort element has
Yeah.
stopped, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of the cohort is to do this, is to be able to connect a little bit more.
Yeah.
Having classes online, it definitely helps a lot of people because you can make your own time. You can, do things in wherever you are. You don't have to go to a specific place to do it. But so we were trying to amplify this experience by, creating classroom styles as well with other mentors to share. And the cohort sold out already. Which is a wonderful thing, right? I think. But you can still enroll, you can still get the knowledge. And then we also have our forum from the school that it also creates communities. We get to know other people and share. And I think this is it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Great. So, guys, that offers up until the 20th of November. So I would absolutely take advantage. Really, really good. Right. Céline, have you had time to have a drink and draw breath?
Yes. Yes.
Are you ready to go now with questions?
Yes, gladly.
Do you know what should we do it?
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, first question. what were the practices on the ecological plots? And that's from Erin. Great question.
Yeah, the ecology plots. I mean, the practice of the farmer most of the time was just no tiling, soil conservation, no pesticides, no fertilizing strategy. This farmer, she was just like doing everything nature. So that was very rare for me to find a farmer, a vine, like a grape grower that did not treat its plots. Meaning, so again, no tillage, soil conservation, zero strategy for suppression, disease suppression, zero fertilization strategy, zero irrigation. She was just cutting the spontaneous floor in between the row. That was the agroecological plot. And when I did the experiment, agroecological was her way to do. Plus, I just like uncompact the soil within the row, okay, within the row, not in between the row. And I had organic matter. And I did the same for the vermicompost plot, uncompacting within the row and organic matter, except vermicompost got vermicompost treatment. Hope that answered the question.
Brilliant. And obviously, there's now a universal symbol for organic matter. It's this, is it?
Well, because I'm
We've done
living,
it. We've done
I've
it.
been
So when
doing-
we talk about organic matter now, that's what we're doing.
Love it.
Céline, you're a trailblazer. We now know what that is. That's wonderful. Bless you. Do you want to take the next
Yeah.
question?
I think this question was already kind of answered because people were wondering a little bit more details about it, right? And this was what are the details of the vermiculture strategy? And I think you kind of already answered that, right?
Normally, yes. Yeah, the vermicompost plot. Yeah, no tiling, no synthetic chemical, no water, no, zero strategy. Zero, just vermicompost. No copper, no pesticide, no nothing.
So I'm going to ask a quick question, if I may, to link onto that. And this is a question, if I've missed it, I do apologize. But Céline, every farmer I talk to who wants to put on vermicompost or compost or extract always says to me, what was the rate that you applied it?
What was the right, what do you mean, the right amount?
No, the application rate.
The amount.
So how much did you put on in terms of kilos per square meter?
What I noticed, I did a side experiment, not as academic, with a vegetable market gardener. And the thing that I learned was like too much vermicompost killed the vermicompost benefits. Like there is like, you can, like for, you can, I did 4 application, soil application, but I would say for the foliar spray to protect the leaf, I will do according to the pressure of the disease and as you're in the vineyard, okay, for the grape wine, as your plant is growing. But if you put too much vermicompost, what I notice is like you can create salinization only when you grow soilless, plants that are in a pot. Like when you do your seedling, when you're vegetable market gardener, we put a lot of vermicompost tea. We did, and then we noticed it worked, and then suddenly everything declined, and that was salinization. So when you are in a closed pot, do not apply too much vermicompost. There are limits. Do I answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So regarding vermicompost, it tackles multiple problems. I am struggling with doing it large scale and also getting local farmers to believe in the finished casts. How the application rate will be for a large piece of land. I think it's a similar question to what Nick, great minds think alike.
Okay. The thing is like you are talking about scaling up, right? Scaling up, honestly, you will need to have the cities within your pocket. That's why I'm like kind of like trying to get them involved, and how it's a matter again of national security, as did the Tigray government from the North Ethiopia, because it's a lot of it's a lot of it's a lot of it's a job, you know, large scale, it's a job. And so either way, you create a farmer community, and then one guy can, this is what we're going to try to do hopefully soon in another country in the south. So you can scale it up with the help of your city, in the help of community, so far right now. But until governments, they do not implement it, for me, it's going to be difficult. Then you have company that can create a business, but the thing is, like, according to the regulation, they have to sterilize the vermicompost and so kill the magic. So
Yep.
that's why I want government to work on vermitechnology as a nature-based solution to restore soil biodiversity and restore soil function. And so we need to change the regulation, and we need to get involved actually the people from the government. Then on the farmer scale, then what we find here, like for instance in France, it's like we are a community, we have many group of work in between farmer, and we have people that create many tons of vermicompost, and they try to scale it up. But honestly, I think we're gonna need to have regulation and government to put their foot in it.
Yeah, I see this too. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
Sorry. And Céline, how close do you think we are to getting that addressed in terms of government being able to see the benefits of that before we have to sterilize everything?
I think the more they're going to see there is food insecurity and increasing number of conflict, the more they're going to answer by the right answer. It is really a question of national security. If you CrowdStrike in 2024 just last 8 hours, and that was just a bug in updating a software. So imagine if you have like a massive cyber attack because someone just want to laugh about something, and then it put the big mess. That's a matter of security. So if you don't have any plan B at the government level, you know, where you cannot produce food because you have to depend on supply chain, what your people are going to eat. So yes, this is something that is strategic, vermitechnology. So that's why it needs to be at the city scale, at rural scale, at state scale. You know, it needs to be like multi-level governance. The soil governance and the governance need to be in shape with this strategic issue for security. So how close? Well, it will depend on how the food insecurity is taken into consideration within the government.
Yeah,
so
I see this.
It's really heterogeneous.
I definitely see this as this is a transition period, right? We cannot, this is two things. So one of the ways is what the question was asking is like, how can the farmer share responsibility? And as you said, create a little bit of a community. And exactly, and then you can start from there. But then inevitably we have to get to that point where this comes from above, right? It comes from bigger companies and other things, and government, they're actually allowing this. Here in Spain, I have the same problem. Vermicompost has to be sold with less than 40% humidity. And the way they do it is they put it in the sun. So it's beautiful fertilizer, but it has no life. And we lose all this beautiful life, you know, and then, yeah, and then we have to talk about how to stimulate a balanced functional group community. It's not just about the bacteria, it's about, you know, a great fungal biomass we can achieve with this as well. So it's a process, it's a transformation, right? But sharing responsibility in the beginning with other people who think like you and want to do the same things as you is a great way to go.
As well, you have the NGO, because, you know, they can palliate, they can be an auxiliary to the farmer system, to the farming system. This is what we already do NGO. They are basically taking for responsibility what most of the time governments they don't want to take care about. Sorry to be so direct, but this is the NGO job. Oh, government cannot take care of that. NGO will do, kind of. I'm very simple, but this is a shortcut that is true. So if we need auxiliary to farming system, why don't we don't have any NGO that can create vermicomposting locally in a very small way to just be the auxiliary for the farming grower, the farming system and the grower. That will be less mental charge and cognitive charge for the farmer, because don't forget, the farmer, they work a lot, 7 days 7, and most of the time, and especially in the global north country, they are alone for 3 to 2,000 hectares. So that's a lot of mental charge. So we need to think in a systemic way. We need to involve NGO, our neighbor, our city, or a state, or our country at the end, and then why not the whole Europe? Or this is a systemic answer, and this is a transition time. So we don't have like the okay, ready to go answer, but it's a matter of first transferring the knowledge, then creating community, thinking in a systemic way, and then at some point, regulation will come because we have the external issue.
I just have a quick follow-up question, because I think this is the question that actually Nick asked. And I know that, Céline, you might not be able to answer as yet because your PhD is not ready yet. But Nick asked is the rate, how much compost did you use per water in each application, for example? And, and I don't know if this is something you can share right now. If not, that's okay. We'll go back. We'll call you back after your PhD is done.
No, for the methodology, because of the publication, I cannot yet disclose everything, but I will say the average for 200 liter, it's about 800 grams to 1 kilo of vermicompost.
Amazing.
Around.
Amazing, right?
That is all that farmers want to know, right? And growers is the rate. And to try and tell them that it all depends on the biology within that compost to give you your rate.
Thank you, Nick, because this is because the chemical thinking is this way. How many of this? How many of that? And every time I work with farmer, because I work for Chambre d'Agriculture, I work for GRAB, which is organic groupment in France. The thing is, like, if you don't have the thought of this is moving, this is growing, this is reproducing, your quantity is going to change every time. So that's why it's important to evaluate the biology within your vermicompost.
Exactly. And that goes for any compost, guys. Anything you're putting on, not just vermicompost. Okay, should we move on to another question? So, are there differences between vermicompost and hot compost, I presume thermophilic, right, in terms of improving the soil? Can we embrace all the terms, or does each one have its specific function? Great question from Diego. Well done. Let's go for it.
Yeah, Diego, thank you for the question. So according to the literature, the scientific literature, we do have a big difference between thermophilic compost and vermicompost. First of all, in the process, vermicompost is a cold compost. You never warming up. But in a term of biology, it is well proven that vermicompost has the highest biology in it. And most of the time, vermicompost do not create salinization, but there is a threshold, like everything. Too much banana, no good. Too much vitamin C, no good. I mean, so it's the same. But the vermicompost is cold, it has a lot of soil biodiversity, and you have worms. And then it is really way more richer in the term of biology compared to the vermicompost, compared to the compost in regular way. But vermicompost, you cannot use all the same materials that you are using for the compost. So it's two functionality, two different things. Thermophilic compost will definitively use all what you will need to kind of throw in a very methodological way, okay? Vermicompost, you can you have to get it. It's like you're going to feed your baby. You are growing warm, but indeed you are growing microfauna, mesofauna, microorganism. And so you have to feed it in a way it will go with this FB ratio. And then every day you have to take care of them. Every day. This is a breeding thing. You have a new, some people, they have cow, they have chicken. You have worm with microfauna and mesofauna. So it's completely different, two different things, two different process, and yeah, vermicompost never end.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to have to ask this next question because you're actually part of it. All right. So I'm going to do two. This is from Claire. Great question. What about the vermicomposting methods? Okay. I mean, that is a whole webinar on its own, right? So Isadora said your vermicompost was beautiful, beautiful quality. And I'm curious how you integrate your vermicompost methodology, Claire.
Okay, so vermicompost method, it needs to be, for the experiment only, it needs to be very ergonomic. It needs to be rich in biodiversity. So I just basically start to feed the vermicompost from the scratch, from an inert media, and restart the whole trophic level chain slowly. So the vermicompost I started in 2021, and it took me 9 months to have a mature vermicompost. It takes 9 months. It's like having a baby, okay? And you can control with your microscope, and then you will just build slowly the trophic level by trophic level. And then when it's ready, because for one drop, you're going to see 42 nematode. You're going to see a plethora of protozoa. You're going to see a lot of fungi. Fungi, if and only if you are not overwhelmed by microarthropods who love to feed on fungi. So it's a matter of when. Yeah, that happened.
Do you have the magic key for avoiding that? Because sometimes in my vermicompost, I do have like a really large community of arthropods that they just kind of go, hey, I'm here to stay. And then I have to start over the system again. I don't have a proper way yet to manage this. I know probably moisture is a bit too much. I'm not so sure, but you have the key, Céline, to that?
The key is when you start to see a small community of microarthropods, this is the time for you to harvest. Awesome. And then you go back to the trophic level and you harvest. It's like you prefer to have more nematode than microarthropods. So you can play with your soil community, with the food, and by taking off the litter.
And I must say,
go ahead,
Nick, go ahead.
What is your base material? Are you using thermophilic compost as your base material, Céline, or what are you using as your base vermicompost?
Alors, for the experiment, because it was a small scale and small, it was barely one hectare. But for huge surfaces, I will use the thermophilic compost, and I would like as well to work with some especially with vermicompost, sheet. The best. This is the caviar for worms. Honestly, the sheet. I mean, all the guys who have and breed just keep the sheet. This is not the crow. I hear Claire. La vache.
Cow.
Yeah.
Cow.
Sorry,
cow
French accent. So bad.
Cow manure.
Yeah.
Or cow shit. It's okay.
Or cow shit. Just the cow shit is the best. Claire is laughing. So it's I find something amazing with all those farmer and grower. When you have cow, I understand why in India this is a sacred animal, because you have a lot of biology in this shit. And then when you know how to compost it without thermophilic, but this is the food for your vermicompost, so you can use thermophilic compost as a media. You can use for small scale, because I work with like like a microbial doubt, just to make bread. You can do that, but you can as well work with the cow manure.
And is there any with the cow manure? Are you concerned when you're using it? I mean, it is great stuff, right? I totally agree with you. But your view on farmers that are still potentially using lots of insecticides for whatever reason to, to look after their herd. I mean, are you seeing different types of cows or manures or systems that you don't want to go near for using their manure, Céline?
Definitively try to use cow manure from as much pesticide and herbicide free, but in some corner of the planet you don't have any corner that is clean from pesticide, and anyway there is bioaccumulation everywhere and transportation. So when we think about it, nothing is clean. So we have to do with what we have locally. And the biology, it's called the bioremediation. The biology is supposed to buffer and to bound those chemicals and deactivate the toxicity of those chemicals. So the more biology we're going to get, the more buffer capacity we're going to have, and the more we're going to be able to do a soil bioremediation. So use what you can have locally. What is so important is to use locally for me. Even if, yes, indeed, it's better to not have pesticide or fungicide, or definitely, but this is in an idealistic world, and today we need to do with what we got because of this supply chain dependency and all this reliance.
Brilliant. Thank you. Let's whiz on to the next question is.
Sure. And before getting into this little podcast here, Céline has a YouTube channel, and she has a wonderful image of a predatory nematode just slurping down another nematode like spaghetti. And it's just one of the most wonderful, sinister images I've seen, of that chase, and then just trying to swallow it, and it doesn't. And it's just wonderful. Go check it out. A little bit of micro porn for everyone. Anyway, so questions from Erin. Isn't the global food system set up to ensure dependence on the fragility of the supply chain? Not just control of seeds and fertilizers, but also by the big machines like Deere, which are setting up the tractors to only be fixable by themselves. When we look at the policies being put in place in the US, in Europe, in the US, they are all preferring large producers over the small guys. It seems like this is the governmental issue if we want to change it, but that means government changing their allegiance. How do you see this happening? That's a loaded question.
What a great question.
Okay. Let's answer as much as I can. It is true. Like on one side, we have the soil monitoring law from the European government, it's brilliant. And on the other side, you have another very well-known agreement for commercial exchange that is kind of destroying European agriculture. Okay, so that's a problem indeed. And again, being too much into autarkic is not good, and being too much globalized is not good either. I think it is the world of the middle. Can government put the middle? Just the middle, just being aligned between locally, maintain your farmer, meaning small guys and big guys, bring back biology, keep exporting, but always make sure you have enough food that you do not export in a case of supply chain disruption, in a case of cyber attack, in a case of war. So this is a tricky question. And my understanding is like, again, because the different sector, my laboratory is the security, defense, and intelligence right now. My PhD is within this laboratory in Paris. So when I brought this topic, it was kind of like, what the heck? what is this chick talking about soil health in the security and defense laboratory? And I'm like, well, but they got it. And I did this PhD. So they are way. And for me, that was very encouraging to see that, you know, people from different sectors are able to listen. So first of all, we need to definitively bridge sector. And decision maker, they don't have the time. They are just human after all. Do they have cognitively the time to connect the dots? Okay, so that is very important. And we have to make sure they have a roadmap to be able to understand the challenge. Then we need to keep as well the commerce, because we are in this system today. We want to go toward another system, but today, in reality, in the present time, we are in this system, functioning with money, functioning with globalization. So we have to start from there to go there, you know, thinking we are there already without taking in consideration the present. That's a big issue that a lot of people make. So strategically, if we want to go towards indeed like regeneration and a government that will understand that, they need to understand as well the security implication within the farming system. So when you say policy being put place in the US, they are preferring larger producer because they did not really fully, I guess, understand the full implication of the soil health as a cornerstone of a civilization, honestly. And I think it is like really a matter of bridging sector and understanding the impact of on the national and international security.
Yeah, I recommend David Montgomery's book, Dirt, is very interesting on this as well.
Absolutely.
One thing that my mind is always hard to understand, like in Spain, banana production in the Canary Islands, if they produce, I'm going to say a number that I don't think it's true, but I'm off the top of my head, imagine that they produce 5 million tons of bananas. But then they have to buy from Morocco a certain amount of bananas as well. So they have a surplus, so they don't want to saturate the market, and they end up throwing 3 million of those tons into the pastures for cows to eat, you know, and this is the absurdity of this entire system and connections, you know, like we have a capacity to produce. We don't need to produce as much, but we have all this, you know, broken links that are not connecting those things. Why are we throwing away food when we can produce enough? Why do we, it's just crazy to me. But anyway.
The thing is like, if the answer to the globalization is a local level, because you can still do globalization by installing, updating, and putting local resiliency, food resilience, and local farming resilience. And if everyone locally is resilient, it does not mean we're not going to be global anymore. It does not mean I'm not going to eat my banana every morning. You know, it just means in a case of conflict, it just means in a case of big issue, everybody has the possibility to be resilient. And this is this resiliency that government needs to go toward to. And the soil monitoring law from Europe is for me a good key. It's already okay, we got it. We are putting this law because we need to monitor soil, restore soil, because we need food, because they understand. But again, all sectors, they don't have the time to talk, and administration they are in a complete different timeline, and especially in France. So I think we have to be optimistic. Sorry.
Yes, of course we do.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next question? Because we're running out of time. We're getting there, and we have so many more questions.
Go. Yeah.
All right. So do you think the long-term microbial stability and nutrient retention seen in Terra Preta could be replicated or accelerated through modern vermi technology?
Wow. To this question, my answer is I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I wouldn't even know how to tackle this. Have you looked at Terra Preta? I never been to local. Yeah, I never seen soils. Did you look at soils in Costa Rica? I don't know if Costa Rica is Nick when you were there.
Yeah, I mean, a few soils we looked at. Yeah.
Was it interesting microbial diversity over there, or?
I think it's what I see when I travel around. It's very, very similar.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I was surprised just how the soils were the same in Norfolk in the UK, or very similar. When I've just come back from Pakistan, I was horrified how similar they all were. Yeah,
I think agricultural soils are going to be similar everywhere, and it's pretty
yeah,
sad. I always tell everyone I had many microscopy crises when I started looking in real soils because
yeah.
I thought I was doing something wrong. I'm like, it cannot be true that I'm not seeing anything. What's going on here, you know? But then this really translates into farmers are still with issues. They still need to add lots of inputs. They have disease pressure, you know, and their soil is eroding. It's just losing. So yeah, it's true.
Well, that comes on beautifully to our next question from Jasmine. Great question. If healthy soil contributes to national security, how should we view current large-scale agricultural practices that may be contributing to soil degradation? And I think for me, that's not only the weather events we're seeing and people the way they're treating soils, but is also where we grow a lot of vegetables up here in Norfolk. We see a lot of soil degradation due to the practices of growing different forms of crops that we then potentially are wasting.
Yeah, but I'm more nuanced toward this question because, again, we start from the present time. And then if, let's say, the cotton people in Australia, they have thousands and thousands of hectares of monoculture, they're not going to diversify their crop tomorrow because they need to be profitable. So they need to install, you know what I mean, many steps to go to this goal. And then we need to kind of like keep those steps, like first regenerating biology in the soil, so vermicomposting, then on the crop, you know, combining many solutions just to allow them to transit. Then a second point is like in Europe and especially in industrialized country, nobody wants to be farmer. So we are stuck with the mechanism and the machine. And we are not in Vietnam when we have 10 people per hectare because they are half mechanized in Vietnam and people work by hand in cane sugar. So we need to take in consideration the society where we live in, the organization of a farming system of the country, and how this is feasible step by step in a time. So to answer, yes, the current large-scale agriculture contribute to soil degradation, definitely. But as well, we need the industry to rethink the machine according to the rules of the soil biology. Because no one is going to work by hand. I mean, I saw that. I've been farmer as well, okay, in Vietnam and especially here. And I saw how nobody wants to pick up strawberry or tomato in my field. So we need still engine, but we need to rethink the machine. We need to involve more people, I wish, within the farming industry. So we have many possible solutions to that, but we need to put them into order in time.
So do you think it comes from valuing food?
First of all, yes, valuing where come from the food, valuing the work of a farmer. So socially, farmer, like, farmer is like the very important job. This is the vital, important activity for national security. No farmer, no food, no security. Definitely.
Okay, let's push on. That we could go on for that one for a long time. Or did you want to say something, Is?
I did, but I kind of
Go for it. No, go for
my
it.
mind when it's okay. We can push on. I don't. Let me see if I. No, I don't think I remember. Yeah, I don't remember. Let's just go on to the next question.
Just the last one thing. The large scale with the tillage and everything, when you look what happened in Spain a year ago with the large flooding. Okay, this is a matter of national security. You had food shortage for months. In France, because France rely on Spanish import, we had empty shelves and some food shortage. So government at some point, they will take that in consideration because this happened in an exponential way. Good luck.
Yeah, I was
Be
actually
nice
going
with
to
your
ask
neighbor.
you, Nick, because I know you work large scale and you've come up with some incredible ways to promote that soil biology and biodiversity. And, and how do you feel about adapting a large scale to a more, I don't know, what's the word? Intelligent, sustainable way of doing things? Do you think it's possible, Nick, or do we all have to go back to perhaps, I don't know in England, but in Spain before the farmer used to have many different kinds of cultivars, and now he usually specializes in one because of machinery, because, of even law. It's more complicated to have different kind of cultivars. And I don't know how it was before there. What do you think about large scale for future?
Well, look, we could go on forever with this one. Mindset is a massive one, and people's intentions to be profitable, which people need to be farmers, and margins are incredibly tight. Not only well, all over the world. So people are going to want to produce food the cheapest way they possibly can. And at the moment, I think we're in crisis in UK ag and certainly in agriculture around the world generally, I think. And I think it's going to take a few more shocks before people start realizing that there is an alternative. And just a very quick one. When my father was farming quite a few years ago, I think it was one man to 150 acres. We are now farming in Norfolk with one man managing nearly 3,000 acres with the machinery we have. So it is frightening. And that's just in my time. I mean, 40 years, but I mean, gosh, that's just a blip. So we need to we need to manage that in some way. Anyway,
I think, yeah, that's what I remember what Céline was talking because she was mentioning about manpower. And I love syntropic agroforestry. And I think that's the limitation that it has, that it requires a lot of manpower to actually push the system. But anyway, last question. Let's do a last question. I think we can do it.
Go for it.
I recently read a study on how worms lose processing efficiency by near to 80% when they are tasked with processing media laden with plastics. What is being done to increase the knowledge on this poorly understood ubiquitous issue? Those are big words, man.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to read them. English
Yeah,
is not.
yeah. Just like to increase the knowledge on this poorly understood ubiquitous issue, meaning like plastic linen is the issue, if I correctly understand.
Yeah.
But like for instance, in Vietnam, in the South Vietnam, they do not use the plastic for there is this guy, he's a doctor in soil ecology, and he has 2 hectares of vermicompost within the forest. And then it just grow. It just puts some bed, but with no plastic. It's straight on the soil, or sometime on the concrete, depending on where. If it's near a river, they're gonna put a concrete layer just to avoid like leakage. But otherwise, they just do it into the forest, and they put wool, and they harvest, and they harvest, and they harvest. So you have many ways to avoid the plastic linen. Actually, I think so, especially in some tropical country. For industrialized country where everything is concrete, it's easy to do on concrete, and you as well when you have like big hangar, big building, and then you have this concrete, and then you can just do like withdraw vermicompost within a building. I don't know if I correctly answered the question, but there are many ways to not use plastic.
Fantastic. Let's see if we can squeeze one more in, shall we? When you say vermicompost is just worm castings, or does it include worms and eggs as well? Nadine, good question.
Vermicompost, it's technically for me, when I refer to vermicompost, is their habitat, the habitat of the worms, meaning this is where they live. So I take their house technically, but I just make sure I keep the eggs at the bottom because I just don't want to rebuy worms.
Okay.
And I want them to be adjusted to the indigenous microorganisms that I put in it. So coming from the peripheric of the farming surfaces. So of course there are eggs, but I keep them in place. I just take the above part of the vermicast.
Goodo. Are we out of time? I think we are, aren't we?
We are. We have time for our goodbyes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, absolutely. So thank you very much indeed. We are going to have to say goodbye, I'm afraid. So when's our next webinar is?
Next webinar is next Thursday with another Nick.
Another Nick.
Yes.
Can't get away from them.
Get away from the Nicks.
Absolutely. And then we've got, remember guys, put in your diaries. We have our webinar 5, which is our great fun, which is our Soil Food Web Community House Parties on World Soil Day. So please put that in your diary. We love seeing you all here and joining this community. A massive, massive thank you, Céline, to what a great evening. Gosh, we could go on forever. So thank you so very much indeed for tonight and giving up your incredibly valuable time. We really appreciate it, don't we, Iz?
Yes, I am. I'm super excited that we managed to do this. Like I said before, I knew Céline for some time. I met her through Soil Food Web. I know her work. I know her personality as well. And we need more people like Céline in the world as well to be doing this incredible work that she's doing. And yes, so I'm proud to be here, and it's an honor. Thank you so much, Nick and Céline and everyone else to be here. And I'll see you guys.
Absolutely. And just remember, guys, link onto our socials for more news and actually going back to going through all the other webinars that we've had in this series. So thank you, Isadora. Always a pleasure to work with you. Love it. The UK workshop won't be long away. And Céline, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much indeed. What a great evening. So many great questions. Amazing presentation. Thank you so much. Learned such a lot. And we're going to say goodbye. Take care, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you so much for